Hello and welcome to the Product Biz Podcast. My name is Monica Little, and this is episode number 14, How to Overcome a Sales Slump. So if you're like most small business owners, you have probably experienced some sort of sales slump at one point or another, and maybe even more often than you would like. But as small business owners, we know that we have to overcome these sales slumps and get out of this in order to keep getting our products into the hands of more people and to keep growing and expanding and building our business. Well, today's episode, we'll be talking about 3 ways to overcome that sales slump, and they're unconventional ways that you probably haven't heard of or haven't tried. And I'm so excited to share these 3 hacks, these 3 tips, these 3 unconventional ways to help you overcome a sales slump. Are you ready to go behind the scenes and learn what it really takes to create consistent sales each and every month with your handmade small business? Join me, Monica Little, self-taught multiple 6-figure small business owner and your product business coach, as I give you the insight and inspiration on how to better run your business and increase your sales in ways that you may not have even been aware of, so that your business can truly become what you knew it could be back when you first started. Learn how to let go of perfection, overcome the fear of failure that is holding you back, and finally start taking action so that you walk away feeling like you've cracked the code on how to run a successful small business. You're listening to the Product Biz Podcast. So before we dive into today's episode, I want to mention the listener of the week. And this review is from Kelia. And what she said is, I just listened to episode 3. It was extremely informative, straight to the point, and I certainly feel encouraged. At times, as small business owners, you forget that there are other small business owners that go through some of the challenges that you face daily. I appreciate the insight Monica shared, and I do have a takeaway. I am definitely getting myself a box to put my good reviews in for the down days when I don't feel motivated. This information was invaluable. Thanks, Monica. Thank you so much, Kelia, for taking the time to leave a 5-star review. I appreciate it more than you know. And today's episode, we're going to dive a little bit deeper on what to do on down days, on what to do when you're not motivated. But I love that Kelia mentioned one of the takeaways from the previous episodes, which is getting a confidence box, getting a physical box that you can put your good reviews in. You can write your good reviews, place them in the box. And on days when you're just not motivated, when you're struggling, when your sales are low, you have something physical that you can go to remind yourself of how awesome your products are and how amazing you really are doing. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that today, but thank you so much, Kelia, for your 5-star review. Please send me a DM on Instagram at Monica Little Coaching, and I have a freebie to send you, a small business owner freebie, some small business owner swag. And for you listening too, if you leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and I read your review as a loyal listener on one of my upcoming episodes, you will get a freebie in the mail too. So make sure you go and leave a 5-star review. I would appreciate it so much. So today we'll be talking about what to do when you are in a sales slump. And I always like to start with stories just to bring this super relatable to you, just to know where I'm coming from and why I'm talking about this, to give you a little bit of background context. So I remember when I first left my full-time job to work on plant-based beauty, and it was so interesting because I quit my full-time job. My last day was December 31st. I think it was 2019. And my first day working for my business full-time was January 1st. And I remember that I had such a great holiday season. November and December, while I was working full-time, I had all these orders coming in. And I honestly felt great. And I was like, wow, this is going to be amazing. Like once I'm working for my business full-time, the sales are just going to keep increasing and increasing. I'm at such a good baseline right now. And it's so funny that I totally didn't realize, even if you're working for your business full time and you're putting more hours into your business and you're working on more things in your business, seasonality still affects you. And I remember January, I had such a slow month. And that was the first month that I was working for myself full time, putting in 40, 50, 60 hours a week on my small business. And in my head, I was equating the more I work on my small business, the more sales that I'm going to have. And I was devastated when my sales were so low in January. And I was like, what did I just do? I left my full-time job, a stable income, over 6 figures, free travel with my corporate job. And I, left it all to work on my own business. And now my sales have drastically decreased. That was one of the biggest realizations that I came to terms with. And I came to terms with it in the hard way. The number of hours that you work on your business doesn't necessarily equal the success that you have in your business or more sales in your business. And it's the biggest mind F, and I'm not going to swear, it's the biggest mind block that you can have in your business, because we all think that more work equals more sales. So I want to just level set and let you all know, like, I totally get this feeling, and this can happen all year round. And I know this example that I just mentioned of specifically Christmas going into January and has some seasonality into it, right? But this can happen all year round. Our sales can totally fluctuate. Sometimes they're high and we're feeling great, and sometimes they just crumble and we start to question what we're doing and why we're doing it, and we start to question everything. And this can happen throughout the year, over and over, in cycles is basically what it comes down to. But today I want to talk to you about what can you do when you're in this slump, how to overcome this slump, how to really work on your mindset in this slump, because to be 100% honest, it's going to happen. There are going to be times when you are working so hard on your business and the results just haven't caught up to you just yet. And that's the name of the game. That's the nature of it. That's part of being a small business owner, is knowing that there's fluctuations. So I want to talk through 3 things that will help you to get out of this sales slump. And I'm so excited to share these with you today. So the very first practice that I want you to establish within like your everyday routine, which will help you immensely to overcome the feelings of being in a sales slump, the frustration, the doubt, the feeling to throw in the towel, the feeling of questioning everything. The very first practice I want you to embody on a daily basis is to have a gratitude journal. And I know so many people are going to probably, number one, exit this podcast as soon as they hear me say that, because they're expecting me to give them some really tactical tips on how to get out of a sales slump. Or number 2, they're going to roll their eyes and say, really? Gratitude journal? Like, what does that do? But let me talk you through why this is so important, especially when you're in a sales slump. So something I teach all of the members across my programs, Etsy Algorithm Secrets, Product Biz Academy, my one-on-one coaching clients, is to have a journal where literally every single time something good happens, you write it down. And if you DM me on Instagram, I'll show you mine, but I literally have a journal. When I get one order, I write it in. Oh, I just got a $25 order on Etsy. When I get an order on my direct website, I write it in. When I get an order on Faire or Abound or a wholesale marketplace, I write it in. Anytime something good happens, no matter how big or how small it is, I write it down in this journal. And I keep this journal next to me while I'm working on my laptop every single day, open on a blank page where I have the date and I write, this is what I'm grateful for. And every single amazing thing that happens to me that day, no matter how big or how small, I write it down. And the reason this is important, because number 1, you're going to have just that excitement of writing it down in the moment. No matter how big or how small, you should be so grateful for every single order that comes in. My intuition coach, Jill Fubister, you can follow her on Instagram at Jill_FOUBISTER. She is amazing. I went through a 6-week intuition program with her to really be able to tune into my intuition and raise my vibration. She says, if you're only waiting for a big sign from the universe, then what you are really saying is a little sign is insignificant. So when we flip that to talking about the orders that we get on a weekly basis, if you're only waiting for the big orders from the universe, like to be excited and so happy about, then what you are really saying is the little orders are insignificant. The little things are insignificant. And the reality is those little orders snowball. and add up. And that is how we grow a business. It's not going to be $1,000 order here or $2,000 order there. We can make those things happen, but we have to appreciate and be grateful for every single small order, every single small piece of the puzzle that comes together, because that comes together in a way that builds our business. And that's the foundation of our sales. It's some here, some there, some from Etsy, some from our direct website, some from Fair, some from Abound. And we have to be so entirely grateful for the small orders when they come in, knowing that that is what's building our business. So when you are having a bad day, when you have this journal, every single day you write down every single amazing thing that happens to you. You can even write down if you've had a great Instagram post that got a lot of comments or DMs or engagement and you just feel excited about it. You can say a new partnership that's in the works. You can say you got accepted to a market. Whatever you are excited about, write it down in this gratitude journal. And the key is when you're having a down week, when you're having a bad day, if there's one thing you can muster to do during that time, which I know it's hard because when we're down and we don't want to do anything to pick ourselves up. If there's one thing you can do, it's open this journal and read the last 7 days worth of entries. And you will see how amazing you are actually doing, and the progress you are making, and the excitement in your business from the cumulative effect of all of these small, amazing things that are happening. And what I like to do, and I tell my clients this too, is on a weekly basis, like every Sunday when you're kind of winding down and preparing for the next week, or maybe every single Monday, go back and read the last week's entries every single week. Get into the habit of doing this because we forget all the amazing progress that we're actually making because we have one bad day or 2 bad days or 3 bad days. And I heard this really interesting analogy from one of the coaches, Coach Danya, who I have access to through James Bonmore's coaching program. And what she talked about is how we put certain lenses on. So think about it this way. When we are having a bad sales day or a bad sales week, we put on these specific sunglasses. And all we can see with these sunglasses are things to reinforce what we're thinking, things to reinforce our beliefs. So we may have a belief that I'm not capable because my sales are so low. I'm not cut out for this. I'm not good enough. My products aren't good enough. So all we see is reinforcement for that. Then we see, oh my gosh, like I haven't had anyone DM me in the last couple of days either. Oh, and while we're at it, I haven't had any orders in a few days. And oh, while we're at it too, like my Instagram engagement has been really low. When we have these sunglasses on, these sunglasses that have this hard belief that we're working through, this hard problem that we're working through, all we see is reinforcement for it. And this is where we get stuck in that pit. This is where we get stuck in this place. This is why a sales slump can turn into an emotional slump that lasts for 1 or 2 weeks and we just feel down about our business. What I want you to do, we're talking about conscious effort here and consciously writing down what you're grateful for and consciously reading that and changing your vibration, changing your emotion around your business. When you have these sunglasses on that are only showing you reinforcements for why things are going bad and everything that's going wrong, I want you to consciously take off those sunglasses and put on a new pair. Put on a new pair where you are doing the best possible. You are kicking ass. You are doing so good. You have this journal of all these amazing things you've accomplished in the last week, all the amazing sales, communications, engagements, opportunities that you've created. Put those new sunglasses on. And then you'll start to see reinforcement for the amazing things that you want to see. It comes down to mindset. When we are in a slump, we're going to see things to confirm that slump. When we are feeling good, when we're feeling elevated, we are going to see things to confirm that elevated feeling. But it's tricky because it's hard. It's a conscious effort because our brain wants us to stay comfortable, to stay small, to stay cozy in a little blanket of security, doing what we've always done. So to take those sunglasses off and put a new pair, that's hard. Your brain is going to say, no, like, let me just be sad for another day. Your brain is going to resent and repel you from trying to change your emotional state because your brain wants to stay small. And as soon as you go into this elevated emotional vibration of opportunity and excitement and things to be grateful for, that's scary for your brain. That's change. That's something different. That's a new emotion. That's a new vibration. And your brain is going to fight you not to do that. So I encourage you to keep a journal of every single small thing that happens during your day that you are proud of, that you are happy about, that you are excited about. I encourage you to feel the emotion, the excitement for every single small order, no matter how big or how small, every single small thing that happens that you're excited about, to be so grateful for it, because that's what snowballs. And I encourage you to review this list once a week when you're feeling down, to remind yourself how proud you should be of yourself, and to switch that pair of sunglasses to the one that's going to help you see the opportunities that you've created and see even more opportunities for you to continue to grow. So that is number one of what I want you to do when you are in a sales slump. The next thing that I want to mention to you about how to get rid of a sales slump, how to get out of a sales slump, is to really acknowledge why you may be in this sales slump in the first place. And there's an amazing quote that I love and I live by and I teach my students, and that is that the universe responds when you are ready. A lot of people, a lot of small business owners will see others who are making a ton of sales and say, I wish I had that. I wish I had all those orders. I wish I was shipping out that many packages each week, each day. I wish I was able to do that with my business. And what I want to remind you is that the universe responds when you're ready. And I posted this on Instagram a couple weeks ago, and I got a lot of really good conversation going on it, which is why I wanted to dive into this on the podcast. I had, during the fair summer market, I think I probably ended up with about $10,000 in sales during the fair summer market, which is a 4-day market that fair hosts for wholesale. So retailers can come on fair and shop from small businesses. During those 4 days, I believe it was about $10,000 in sales. One of the sales that I had was a $3,000 order from one retailer. And then a couple days later, I got a $2,000 order from one retailer. So 50% of my sales during that time were from 2 different retailers. That's huge. And I shared this on my Instagram, but then I shared the universe, whoever you believe in, God, the universe, source, there's some sort of being that helps us, guides us, is there for us. And I personally call it the universe. So that's what you're going to hear me talk about it. Having some sort of like trust and relationship with whatever you believe in is so important for running a small business. And I'm going to get some guests on the Product Biz podcast to talk about that who are more versed in that than I am. But what I'm a big believer of is, if you are stressed, if you are under a lot of pressure, if you are really struggling, the universe is not going to give you more orders, because the universe, God, whoever you believe in, doesn't want you to be stressed. The universe wants you to be happy. The universe knows that money doesn't buy happiness, that money doesn't bring happiness, that money isn't going to change your emotional state. So as much as you want more orders, and I wish I had these orders, and I wish I had these sales, if you're not ready for it, the universe is not going to give it to you, because the universe knows that it will cause you more stress. It will cause you more harm than good. It will cause you, sure, to have a little bit more money, but you're going to be exhausted, burnt out, trying to fulfill these orders. And a little bit more money might give you a little burst of whatever it may be, but at the end of the day, it's not going to change your emotional state and who you are and how you feel. So the key here is, how do you show the universe that you are ready? That you're ready for more sales, that you're emotionally stable, emotionally secure, that you are energetically secure, that when you get this big order, it's like no big deal. All right, I can go pack it. Easy peasy, done and over with. And if you think about someone who makes like bath bombs or someone who makes candles, I had a really good conversation with Diana, who's one of my one-on-one clients about this, and she makes bath bombs and things like that. And it's saying like, you know what, if you had a $2,000 order right now for bath bombs, if that was 200 bath bombs or however many it is for this wholesale order, how long would it take you to make that order? How stressed out would you be? If you're also working full time and you also have kids, would you be stressed out trying to fulfill that order? Because if the answer is yes, then the universe is not going to give it to you. You may be able to get some big orders if you push your way in, and the universe is like, all right, this woman is really pushing and trying, so let's give her some. But the consistent big orders come when you show the universe that you're ready. 100,000%. So how do you show the universe that you're ready? There's a couple key things I want to mention here. So number one, having your systems, your processes, your inventory in such a place that fulfilling big orders is a piece of cake. When I got these orders from Fair, I have a ton of backstock made. I didn't have to make any new product. I had all my shipping material available. Everything is pretty much streamlined, that all I do is I go and pack the orders, put a label on it, and print it out. If you have to stop and make products every single time that you get an order, you're not showing the universe that you're ready for more orders, because you literally have to stop what you're doing and make a product, and it takes an hour, and now you have all this going on, and you have to clean up, and you have to pack, and you have to do this, and you have to do that. You're not showing the universe that you're ready. So I recommend to have systems and processes in place that you can show the universe you're ready. Like, hey, look, I can pack a big order in no time. Bring those orders to me. And that may mean you have to invest in more supplies. You have to invest in more raw materials. You have to make more products and have them backstock. Maybe you need a space dedicated for your business. Can you see now how we're showing the universe that we're ready? Look, universe, I have this space. I bought all these raw materials. I made all of these products. I am so ready and so secure for more orders. And that is how you show the universe that you're ready. The universe knows when you are ready. And I'm going to mention it again. The universe knows that money doesn't bring happiness. And money can help make life more convenient, but money doesn't bring happiness. And that's been one of the biggest things that I've been working on over the last year, is really coming to terms with that. Because there are days when I'm making the amount of money that I want to make, and I realize like, oh my gosh, I thought I would be so much happier, but this doesn't change a thing. This doesn't change one thing. And what brings happiness is really the inner work and the inner peace and the inner passion and the inner connection. And the universe knows that. So a lot of times when we say, I want more orders, I want more orders, I want more money, I need more money, I need this, the universe knows that money doesn't bring happiness. So instead of asking for more money because we need it, we need to show the universe that we're ready for it. Like, hey, look, I have all this stock. I'm ready for these big orders. I can fulfill it. And I know that money doesn't bring me happiness because I'm happy where I am right now. So that's the other piece of showing the universe that you are ready, which is being 100% happy where you are right now, no matter how many orders you do or don't have. And that is going to be one of the hardest things to come to terms with, but we have to. There's this really good book called The Abundance Book by John Randolph Price, and I learned about this book from James Wedmore, my mentor, who you hear me talk about in probably every single episode. And this book is so amazing because it talks all about how there's no person, there's no place, there's no condition that will make us happy. So a lot of people say, I'll be happy when I leave my full-time job. That's another big mind block, a mind F, if there is one, is I thought I would be so much happier when I left my full-time job. And after I left my full-time job, I realized it didn't change my happiness at all. Because no person, place, or condition can affect your happiness. No person, place, or condition is responsible for your happiness. So if you say, I'll be happy when I leave my full-time job, that's a condition. If you say, I'll be happy when I have a significant other, when I'm married, that's a person. When you say, I'll be happy when I move, when you say, I'll be happy when I'm finally at XYZ state with my business, that's a place. but no person, place, or condition can bring you happiness. So what that means, what's left, right? The only thing that can bring you happiness, true happiness, is inside of you. And the universe knows that money doesn't bring happiness. The universe knows that happiness comes from within. And when you show the universe that you are so happy with your current circumstances, no matter what they are, no matter the sales or lack of sales, no matter the job or lack of job, no matter what situation you're in, when you show the universe you are happy where you are right now, the universe is going to give you more of what you want. Because the universe knows, oh wow, look at that. She gets it. She gets that more money, more things, more circumstances won't bring her happiness. She gets that happiness comes from within. She gets from happiness comes from mindset work. She gets that happiness comes from finding things that bring joy and peace and flow into her daily life. So now let's bring more of that to her. Otherwise, the universe, it doesn't want to positively reinforce things that aren't true. So if we think like, oh God, why hasn't God given me more money? Why hasn't God given me more opportunities? Why hasn't the universe cut me a break? Well, the universe knows that none of those things actually contribute to happiness. So how do we show the universe that we're ready for more? By showing that we are happy where we are right now. And I remember during COVID, I mentioned that I left my full-time job December 31st, 2019. January, worked on my business full-time, extremely slow month. February, extremely slow month. Seasonality comes into play, right? March, the pandemic hits. I just left my full-time job and now seasonality has brought me down. The pandemic, there was a good 2 months where online sales tanked because people were so unsure of the economy, their jobs, what was happening. And I read this book, The Abundance Book, April of 2020. Every single morning I would go to the park and I would read parts of this book and I would journal and I would reflect on it. And with all the uncertainty going on in the world at that point in time, I can say that I was probably at the most peace that I have ever been, because I wasn't putting pressure on myself. I wasn't allowing what was going on to affect me. I was focusing on no person, place, or condition can make me happy. Only I can make me happy. Only my inner peace can make me happy. Only my inner knowing can make me happy. And it was so crazy that then my sales started to explode. So many people were all of a sudden buying gift sets to send to family members and friends around the country because they couldn't see them due to COVID. They couldn't have birthday parties. They couldn't have family get-togethers. My sales exploded. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's happening? I'm not doing anything differently. And the only thing I can attribute that to is the universe was like, okay, she gets it. She gets that more sales won't make her happy. She gets that happiness comes from within. And now that she's embodying that and fulfilling that, let's give her more abundance. Let's give her more things that will just amplify that even more. But if you have a hole in your heart that you're trying to fill with either a person or a place or a condition, I won't be happy until I leave my full-time job. I won't be happy until I'm making more money. I won't be happy until I'm married and have kids. I won't be happy until my business is further along. You're not showing the universe that you're ready for more. So that is a long-winded answer for step number 2 on how to get out of a sales slump. And that is to show the universe you are ready. By 1, having your systems, processes, inventory in place. And number 2, showing the universe that no person, place, or condition will make you happy. And you're so happy with your inner peace that the universe has no choice other than to give you more of what you want. The third thing that I want to mention of how to get out of a sales slump, and this is what I did with plant-based beauty. So we understand now that sales slumps are going to happen to all of us. It is part of running a small business. And I've said this in other podcasts too, but if you want a consistent paycheck when you know exactly the dollar amount to the penny that you are going to get every week or every other week, that's why there are jobs. Because that's where you can get that consistent direct deposit, the same amount. You know how much is coming in. That's not how being an entrepreneur is. And entrepreneurs, you have to take risks. And one of the risks is knowing that, hey, I'm not going to get the same amount of money every single day, every single week, every single month. But knowing that, and knowing that dips in sales are going to happen. And knowing that you still have to show up and put in the work even when that's happening. Well, that is step number 3 on how to overcome a sales slump. When you have a sales slump, this is the time to double down and put in more work. And for plant-based beauty, how I did this is every single month, I would master one project. So I spent a month mastering Etsy. I spent a month mastering my website. I spent a month mastering Faire, mastering Abound, mastering wholesale marketplaces. I spent a month reaching out to stores. I focused so much one project at a time in order to master that project and get it in a perfect place where it was building that foundation that it could self-sustain itself moving forward. And I know I talk a lot about Etsy, and that has been one of the biggest consistent pieces of sales for me. And the reason that happened is because I put in a month or 2 months of solid work on Etsy. And I focused on Etsy and I built my Etsy shop, and I continued to trial and error and try new things and put things out there to see what would work until it was actually working for me, until it was running like a machine. And now for the past 3 years, I've let Etsy just run on the back burner. I make some tweaks here and there. Otherwise, I built this machine in such a solid way that 3 years later, I'm continuing to get sales from it. And so many struggling small business owners, what I see is that they focus on one project for like a day, and then they jump to another project and then a third project. And they have shiny object syndrome where they're jumping from one thing to another, and then nothing gets done. There's no progress to be made because we're just jumping and jumping and jumping and jumping. And oh my gosh, like my brain hurts just thinking about that. I work with my clients. We focus on 3 projects every quarter, and that's it. They pick their top 3 projects, and that's what they work on. And if there's other things that they're excited about, then that just falls lower on the priority list. And as soon as they finish one project, they move on to the next. Because otherwise, how are you going to really get good and finish and master a project without giving it the dedicated time that it needs? And I'm not sure if you can relate to this example, but sometimes when I make inventory, I'm super scattered in the same way. I'll start making one product, and then I'll start making another product, and then I'll start labeling a third product, and then I go back to the first product, and then I get sidetracked and start a 4th product. And by the end of the day, I'm kind of like, what did I really even accomplish? Like all of these products, this inventory that I'm trying to make, every single piece is halfway done and nothing's actually completed. So if you think about that example, if you can relate to that, imagine what is happening if you are also running your business in this way in terms of the projects that you are doing. If you are only giving each project 10%, 25% of your attention, jumping from one to the other, they're all halfway done, and now you aren't getting sales from any of those platforms, any of those projects, because none of them have actually gotten the attention that they deserve. And this is one of the biggest things that we can do, is to really focus one project at a time, become a master at this project, not just complete it. That's what a lot of people struggle with too, is they say, okay, I put my products up on Etsy, I'm done. They'll kind of half-ass it, put their products up on there. They just mark it as like a to-do list. Okay, this is done, move on to the next thing. And then they wonder why they don't have any sales. Well, have you really mastered that platform, or have you just kind of barely done it just to do it to move on to the next thing? There's a huge difference. There's a huge difference between the two. When you master a project, when you master a platform, you've built it like a machine that it's going to give you sales for the long run. And that is 100% what I've done with plant-based beauty. Right now, I'm running 3 separate businesses, and plant-based beauty is all passive income. But I'm making a really good amount of money from plant-based beauty, not because I'm lucky, not because of happen chance, but because I spent a year project by project by project, month by month by month, being super disciplined, executing on every single platform, becoming a master on that platform. And now it's a machine that continues to bring customers to me for me to get more sales. And that is the beauty of how to build a business in a way that serves you. Instead of us serving our business, how do we build a business that serves us? And mastering each project one step at a time is key. So if you're struggling in a sales slump, take an honest look at what you've been working on. If you've only been making inventory because that's all you have time to do, well, no wonder there aren't sales, because you've neglected Etsy, you've neglected Instagram, you've neglected reaching out to stores, you've neglected other platforms. Is it really a surprise that we're in a sales slump? Or have you, like we talked about earlier, created systems that your inventory is easy? You spend 1 day a week making inventory, done. Now you have 5 days a week to grow your business, or however many hours you can give to your business to actually work on marketing, advertising, sales, which is the way to get more sales in your business. Making inventory is not going to generate sales. We have to focus times on marketing, sales, advertising, and different platforms. And that, my friends, is so important. So take an honest reflection on if you've been able to master any of these platforms that can lead to more sales, or if you have some work to do. So those are my 3 steps to overcome a sales slump. And they're not your traditional steps. But the first one that we talked about, just to recap, is how do you be so grateful for the sales that you do have, just to appreciate where you're at and stay in that high energy to get more sales. How do you show the universe that you're ready? By having inventory systems, processes in place, by having a positive mindset to show the universe that, hey, no person, place, or condition will bring me happiness. And third, how do you master one project at a time to create avenues to get more sales, to get you out of a sales slump? And I hope that has been insightful, impactful. I hope you are giving yourself a little bit of grace and knowing that we all go through these sales slumps. And the one thing that I want to leave you with before I end this episode is understanding what you can do. So a lot of people, a lot of struggling small business owners, when they get into the sales slump, they are probably exhausted, maybe burnt out a little bit because they're trying to do a lot of things. So they say, all right, like I need to slow down. I need to take it easier. I'm really pushing right now and things just aren't going the way I want. But what I want to challenge you is, instead of getting things off your plate by slowing down, is to get things off your plate by asking for help. And one of the easiest ways that you can make your job easier of running a small business owner while also making progress, while also mastering platform by platform by platform, is to work with someone who can guide you and help you along the way. Someone who can be there to support you when you are in a sales slump. Someone who can be your sounding board when you're in a sales slump. And if you specifically are looking to master Etsy, how to get more sales on Etsy, how to get your product seen on Etsy, how to get that to be one of the pieces of the puzzle to increase your sales, to get out of this sales slump, then I have my free Etsy training, How to Get Your Products Seen on Etsy, which you can register for at monicalittlecoaching.com/Etsy webinar. Super excited for all the amazing feedback for those of you who have joined me in the webinar. And this is one of the ways that you can start to master the Etsy platform. So if that's something that's on your to-do list, especially as we get closer to the holiday season, mastering Etsy now will set you up for success for the holiday season. How do we start getting your products in front of more customers now? Everything that you need in your listings, in your photos, in your keywords, how to attract customers, how to build confidence when customers come to your listing so they purchase. Those are some of the things that I share in my free Etsy webinar, and I hope to see you there. But otherwise, if you have any questions, if this resonated with you, please send me a DM on Instagram at Monica Little Coaching, and I will see you next week on the next episode of the Product Biz Podcast.